Well, David, we're so glad to talk to you about Homeland today, but I want to tell everybody watching right off the top that if you don't like spoilers, you need to tune out because we're going to have to give some spoilers
You
about
need to
Homeland to be
tune
able to talk
out.
to you. Um, you finished up your second season a few months ago, and we saw that second season, and your character of David Estes is no longer. Is that right?
That's right. He was blown to smithereens by the dastardly Abu Nazir.
That was in the final episode, one of the final moments in that episode. When did you find out that that was going to be the end of your character?
Well, I guess it was about 2 or 3 days after the Emmy win. Although, when I got back to my hotel on the night of the Emmys, I had a sneaky suspicion that something was going on because it was a strange night. I just got a vibe, and my spider senses were telling me something wasn't quite right. And about 2 or 3 days later, I got the news.
And you're speaking of spoilers at the Golden Globes when they won the drama series. Your producers said they thanked you and a couple of the other characters that were leaving the show, which at that point the show had just finished the second season. So I think people were a little caught off guard by that as well.
Yeah, I think he got into a little bit of trouble with that, but at the same time, I think he wanted to acknowledge the work done in a public way, and it was very sweet of him to do that. I suppose, kind of hardcore fans of Homeland are there on the night, and we tend to forget that people are catching up weeks, months later,
A couple of questions in our chat room I want to ask as we move along. One of them is from our poster Awardzilla. He said after season one, he remembers a BAFTA podcast where you said that you understood the direction of Estes and that you felt like you knew, or how did you feel about the developments of him in season two since you finally understood more about him?
It was difficult. I mean, I was very vocal with how uncomfortable I was in season one. I just didn't have anything to go on with this guy. He was such an unexplained character, and I finally found a way that made it comfortable for me to play him, which is just to be as ambiguous as I could possibly be, just by kind of embracing what was making me insecure. I seemed to find a way of playing it, and then right at the end of season one, I had a fantastic scene with Mandy Patinkin, and Mandy was actually having a little difficulty, and Alex Ganzer gave him a note, basically saying that I had been promoted over him. I had got his job, and I just overheard this, and it really it cemented another piece of the jigsaw for me, that he was a guy that was perhaps over-promoted, knew he'd been over-promoted, and was also insecure about that. So by the time I got back for season two, I just felt a lot more secure in my insecurity. I just felt like I knew the guy more. When I got the first episode, I was really excited because I had this fantastic scene with Claire Danes, and where I was asking her to go abroad, and I really felt the character was really gonna blossom. But I think after episode 3, the guy disappeared a little bit, and he kind of went back into being this frustrator, this wall, this obstruction, and it became quite frustrating. But there was nothing really I could do about it. I had to just be happy with it and get on with it. I would have loved, I think in episode 3 again there was a moment where he was supposed to have had a date with Roya Hamad, and I was really hoping that they would write that date, but they never did. And I thought to myself from that moment, if they're not going to write the date, which I thought would have been interesting, the character's not really going to get developed. So I just quickly got on with it and just thought, let me move on.
Another thing about season one that they never explored fully is that it would seem that he and Carrie had a relationship in the past. Did you use that at all as you prepared for the character?
Absolutely. I mean, like I say, I played just about every scene with Claire as if I was still in love with her. It wasn't written that way. It probably wasn't meant to be that way. But I played every scene as if I was jealous as hell of Nick Brody. And it gave me something to play because, as I say, the character was first and foremost an obstruction. Was there to disrupt and to prevent. But I couldn't just do that all day long. It was just a little bit too frustrating. So I kept adding little things myself, and it made it quite interesting. But they never really did go into it. They never really did go into how he broke up with his wife or how he still had feelings for Carrie. And I was disappointed that the character got blown up without really exploring any of those things.
Speaking of working with Claire and that particular character of Carrie, he let her get away with more than just about anybody that's ever been in the CIA. I mean, he kept bringing her back, bringing her back, bringing her back. That was just a very interesting. I don't know why he kept allowing her to work there.
Yeah, I think because she's so damn good. I mean, I think she's a maverick. She's a one-off, and I think Estes recognized her brilliance. Also recognized in season 2 that she was right all along, and I think when you are confronted with somebody who's so in tune with their job and so good at it, you got no hesitation but to bring her back in.
Well, and ultimately, you don't have a show without Claire being in practically every scene either.
Exactly.
Tell me, in this second season, I would love to get your feedback on this. They could have been dragging out, how Brody was going to be caught eventually over several seasons, but they blew that whole thing up by the second or third episode, and you and Saul know at that point by, I think, what was it, the third or fourth episode?
Yeah.
That's awfully fast. That's taking a big risk as the producers to let that secret out so quickly to all the other characters, don't you think?
Well, that was their decision. I think Homeland season 1 and season 2 could possibly have been stretched out over 3 or 4 seasons. They decided that they wanted to accelerate the story, and there was really nothing we could do about it. And I think it was a shame, because I think what was so fantastic about this combination of characters was that nobody really knew. Everybody was keeping a secret from everybody else, and nobody quite knew the full game. And I suppose somewhere upstairs, somebody wanted the whole thing just to get on with it and to be a lot more pacey and a lot more kind of to accelerate the story. That was their decision. I felt that it was perhaps a shame because I felt it kind of, as you say, I think it burned through a hell of a lot of plot line. But who knows what will happen in season 3? Maybe they'll reinvent it again. I hope so. Just unfortunate that I'm not going to be involved.
Well, David could have a twin brother that also works in the CIA, and they bring him in.
Yeah, I think I'd go for that. I could. I'm pretty good with a limp, so maybe that'll be my kind of my readmittance to the show.
Grow a mustache or wear an eye patch or something.
Yeah, why not? Have a beard, something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about Claire a little bit, but a lot of your scenes were with Mandy Patinkin. What was he like to work with for you?
Fantastic. I mean, I've been blessed to, I'm primarily an English stage actor, and this was my first American job. I was just blessed to be thrown into a group of just the most talented actors, and most of my scenes second season were with Mandy Patinkin, and he was just a genius. And I have to say, I would often go on set early, hours before I was due to be at work, just to watch him, because just to see what he did, how he prepared for his roles, how he prepared for his work was really a joy. So I feel really blessed to have spent a short amount of time, but with such a fantastic group of actors. So, as I said, disappointed not to be in it, but the upside is I've learned a hell of a lot about screen acting that I just didn't know before.
Well, he was primarily a stage actor too when he first started, and still does a lot of stage. Did you two compare notes just on stage work?
I went to see him on stage, and it would have been lovely it'd be great to work with him on stage. And we spoke a lot about the business. I asked his advice several times, and as I say, I'm really going to miss. I don't necessarily miss the character of Estes because, as I say, I think he was a little one-dimensional. But I really miss the people. I miss Mandy. I miss Claire. I miss the guys. So that's the tough bit, really.
Now, obviously, you're British. We've talked about that a little bit. But I did not know that when I was first watching the show. I think I looked you up on one of the online sites to see where I'd seen you before. And when you meet a fan or somebody in public, are they surprised that you're not American?
Absolutely. What's most frightening is that English people think I'm American, even though I've been working here for the last 25 years. I meet people in the stores or on the street, and they say, "Oh my God, what are you doing? You're from Homeland. What are you doing here in London?" I say, "Well, I'm actually British," and they're a little bit astounded. So obviously, the dialect lessons worked. I'm very happy about that, and it's great to be recognized.
You did a really good. You did a great American accent.
It got better. I mean, I have to say, from getting the job to filming on my first day was 16 days. And I had never done an American accent before. I knew nothing about the CIA. I had to very, very quickly get up to speed working with some of the best actors on television. And it took me a while, I'll be honest with you. It took me a while to get comfortable. I would say it took me at least 7 or 8 episodes. I'm just surprised that I wasn't fired before that. But it's been a great ride, and I have a lot more confidence now than I did when I started.
We asked that same question to Damian Lewis, I think right at the end of the first season, because he had the same issue you did where a lot of people that would meet him for the first time thought he was American as well. So you both had that same thing to work through.
But he played Americans before. He played Sergeant Winters in Band of Brothers, so he was used to playing an American, whereas for me, it was straight out of the box, and it was scary. And a lot more difficult than I'd imagined it would be.
Well, you talked about this great ensemble, and all of you together were nominated at the Screen Actors Guild Awards earlier this year. What did that mean to you, and what was that experience like?
It meant an awful lot, although we didn't win, which was a real surprise and shock.
Your buddies there from Downton Abbey, from your own area, took it away from you.
I can't believe it. And I think everybody was kind of shocked, actually, but... No, I don't think there's a weak link in the show, and I think we've been blessed for 2 years to have this collision of great acting, great writing, great story, great crew. We've been very, very lucky on Homeland, and it's the proof has been the kind of just the amount, the effect the show has had around the world. As I say, even in China, people are watching it online. People were talking about it. It's kind of literally all over the world. People talk about Homeland. And I've been in Italy recently, and people were coming up to me in the street and saying, "Oh my God, you're from Homeland." So it's a worldwide show.
Well, you may have lost that SAG award this year, but all of you together, I guess the producers actually keep the award. But you pulled off a huge shocker at the Emmy Awards last year by winning Best Drama Series. Mad Men won 4 years in a row, and you had shows like Breaking Bad and Downton Abbey and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know.
What was that night like?
It was kind of crazy, I have to say. It was, I'm a huge fan of Breaking Bad. And for me to sit in a room, see, just a couple of rows away from Bryan Cranston, it was astonishing. And to actually win was just beyond any of my wildest dreams. So, getting up on the stage, both at the Golden Globes and the Emmys, has just been probably one of the highlights of my career. To stand there in front of such an illustrious group of people, talent, was really fantastic, very exciting.
Well, even though your time ended quickly, 2 seasons, I mean, a high-profile role like this on a show that is loved worldwide, that can only lead to some great roles for you, don't you think?
Fingers crossed, my friend. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's a great place to start. As I say, it's my first American job, and I'm really looking forward to exploring the American industry a lot more. And as I say, I've done a lot of stuff here on stage and screen, so I'm looking forward to seeing what America has to offer.
Well, we sure appreciate your time. I know it's nighttime there in London, and we're talking in the afternoon here. And good luck with everything coming up in the future. Hope you have a great summer.
Thank you very much.